Okay. All right. Well, I really don't want to go too far afield. I mean, yeah, and there are people here that can answer a lot of these things, and that would be good if we want to go there. But as far as the question of fireproofing, yes, not only was this steel, but it was fireproofed, at least in the towers, and I'm not sure the status on Building 7. Ended up doing, I was going to do a part 2 that was just explaining the implications of their admission of free fall. But while I was working on that, I got curious. I was going to come up with just the explanation of the implications of the free fall. What I got curious about, though, was how did they actually come up with a 5.4 second measurement? So I did a second video which simply identified their starting point. Like, where did they hit the stopwatch to start their 5.4 seconds, okay? Now, since then, I've actually done better than what I did on the video, so I'm going to show you that. Okay. I'm introducing you to a new tool here. This is called AVI Demux or Avidemux or something. It's basically a little frame manipulating tool here. And what I can do is I have, instead of a movie in here, I have individual frames. I've introduced a clock. If I just run it like a movie, this is exactly the 5.4 seconds. What I did was I went to when the roof line went to the 29th floor window, which was originally there, and then I went back from there and identified 5.4 seconds earlier. Now I'm running this slowly backwards, and I want you to tell me when an honest person would start the stopwatch. If this was a race you were timing for the fall of the building, when would you have stopped it? Now, notice, by the way, pretty much when it's on the horizon, the corner is stopped. The penthouse is still moving. How about maybe there? No, they went a full second earlier. That's where they started their clock. Now, look at this. If I start, here's that whole first second. There's a little bit of slumping of the penthouse, and that's it. The building itself is not budging. And it's really almost 2 seconds after. So with that in mind, watch the clock and watch when the actual start occurs. So what in the world justifies them starting the clock where they do? John Gross said they looked for a change. There was the first indication of movement of the roof line. They said they looked for a change in a single pixel. All right? Well, first of all, this is a camera that's very far away, and any kind of vibration of the camera, like the horizon moves around more than a single pixel. Furthermore, the edge, if you get in here with a magnifying glass and start looking at it, the edge is at least 4 or 5 pixels wide. It's like artifacts on the edges. You can't see a sharp edge that cuts off at a single pixel. So it's like a transition of gray in even ending. So even the way he's describing their whole technique, it's phony. There is no justification for choosing this particular instant other than their computer model predicted 5.4 seconds, and by golly, they were going to come up with 5.4 seconds. And that's exactly what they did. So is that fraudulent? I think it's sort of the definition of fraudulent, where you take a predetermined result and force the data to fit what you want it to come out looking like. So this is very sloppy work for even a high school student trying to cheat on a lab report, but it's somewhere in that same ballpark. Okay? Okay. That's a commercial news camera. We're moving now to Building 1, which is the North Tower. And let me just play it first. This is looking at the northwest corner of the North Tower after the collapse has already begun. And just look at the incredible detail of what's going on in here. And then I'm going to focus in on specifics. What do you see? Puffs. Not just one or two. Some of these that look like this one right here have been pointed out like when they're seen sort of in isolation. Like this would be called a squib, like an explosion that went off sort of out of sequence with the rest of them, or something like that. And they say, oh, those squibs, that's just air compressed in the building from all the floors pancaking down like an accordion, and it pushes this air out, and it's going to take all this, it's going to break some windows and take all this dust and stuff with it. Well, what are you really seeing here? You're seeing, if in fact it was the compressed air, you have to have like a closed container to hold the compressed air, don't you? If you compress air and it's free to escape everywhere, you're not going to compress it very much. And notice that there's explosions going on way up here, way down here, and there's even explosions way down underneath the canopy. And it's a little bit hard to see in this video, but I'm going to show you another one in a minute. Right down in here. Watch right down here. Everybody see where I'm pointing? It's a very blatant amount, and it's way the heck ahead of the collapse. Up here's the collapse, right? And way down here, there's these explosions going off. Not just individual isolated ones. It's a continuous wave of demolition running down the building. Now, this is heavy material, free-falling right beside it. And look at the speed with which that wave of explosions comes down. Look at that. It's practically keeping up with this free-falling material. So that would mean, if in fact a naturalistic explanation were accounting for this, that something inside the building is free-falling as fast as this heavy material outside the building and somehow pushing stuff out. It seems much more reasonable to say that there is like a timed sequence of explosions that they just have this like computer control, and they just run their finger down all these little switches, so to speak, and they go off in sequence, right? Now, there's a lot of other stuff to be seen. In fact, right here, okay, see this see this probably a column that's coming out right here. It's in the sunlight at the moment. And it falls over like this. Now, I teach over here at Eleanor Roosevelt School. It's a homeschool, charter school type of arrangement. So I'm dealing with a lot of parents. One of the parents was a military demolition person. He was very much, oh, no, this could not have been a demolition. I said, hey, did you ever really see it? Well, not in detail. So I showed it to him. And what he saw was, what he pointed out to me, was this beam right here. Notice all these white streamers coming off of it. Notice the smoke in general is black. And here's all these white streamers coming off of this steel beam. This is not just smoke that got entrained in the wake as this was plowing through the air. This is material coming off of it. Now, as it goes down, notice that this girder here is a little lagging behind this one, right? Now watch what happens as it goes down. Poof, a big ejection of material, and it wins the race. It rushes ahead. So it's like extra material goes and it accelerates as it's coming down here. He immediately said, this is a demolition. I mean, he went a flip-flop from, he was a very conservative person,